We're here. Welcome. Hello. Good evening. Hold on 1 second. Let me just monitor levels. Make sure. Okay. I think we're good here. We're in a good place now. Hi. Welcome. Happy Saturday night. Thank you for coming back to my stream here on the Miggy Spicy Twitch channel. We are here with another I guess pocket of time, another gaming session of Our Life, which is a narrative visual novel that I downloaded from Steam. It's another free game that you guys could try out if you like what you see here. Yeah, so we're probably gonna play for about an hour and a half and see where the natural stopping point is. I am going out of town next week, so I will not be streaming at all next week. I'm going to try for Monday because I don't leave it until Tuesday. But for now, let's just plan that I'm not going to be returning. I won't be streaming until after March 12th. So again, please follow, please hit that notification button to be notified when I will be streaming, because as of right now, I do not have a consistent schedule. I kind of just stream whenever I feel like it. I feel like that's less pressure right now, but hopefully by late spring I'll have a more consistent schedule once I figure out kind of what my cadence is going to be here. Again, I'm just trying to think what the themes of the days will be. So whether it's going to be like one day I'm just doing games that you guys could get for free because the economy. Hello. Another day, like maybe some kind of like let's play games that are rated less than 3 stars from Steam or, wherever we get games, or the PlayStation Network. And then maybe another day is like Freaky Fridays because I love horror gaming. So maybe let's do some horror gaming. But for right now, we're kind of just like, I'm truly a variety streamer right now. So variety of days, variety of games. This is my channel. I do what I want. Okay, so with that said, let's just get started here. Let me turn the game volume back up a little bit. Okay, shall we get started? I'm going to be super corny, so I'm going to just warn you guys now. All right, let's get this going. All right, we're going to continue from yesterday. I don't want to access the Steam community while playing. Please stop it. Okay. All right, grown up. Oh, is this like, this is probably the last thing I should do here. Let's just go backwards. Sandcastle. Okay. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When him, and Shiloh sat out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon. Not with his cast. The waves washed a single shell to shore. A single shell to shore. I could do it. Glittering and blue. Another reminder of the places he couldn't go. From what you'd heard about Cove's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Even cut it off himself if he could. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here, with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else, and he couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it. But sitting there on the same beach you'd grow up on, you could understand that not everybody else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in. The water? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to be able to do it soon. Cove only sighed in response. Apparently soon wasn't soon enough. It's so pretty, the ocean. And huge. There could be anything out there, like mermaids. Yeah. Okay, let's see. My responses could be, I wish you didn't have a cast. I don't really care. That is so mean. Swimming might be fun if we could. I'm fine here on land. Mermaids aren't real. Mermaids are real. Stop it. We're gonna be his little ride or die here. I'm fine here on land. All right. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation, Cove turned back into the water. What the hell? I guess he didn't like that answer. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle? Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening. Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before. It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away. Well, how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him. Cove is just like, what is wrong with him? He was sheltered as a child, huh? I'll play too. I love making sand stuff. I've never really made one before. There's nothing else to do. Well, there's nothing else to do. Of course we've made a sandcastle before. Okay. He put his hands back to his seashells and sand and nodded. I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started. Shiloh, focusing more intently than you'd ever seen him, guided Cove through his process. You happily use your own method. I don't like this music. It's a little distracting, but I like it. It's like really loud in my ear. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared. That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas. I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is gonna be a real castle. Cool. This is gonna be a house. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to make... I'm gonna make a mansion. Digging it. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to design a mansion. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as he usually did. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you'd built. It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of the shells, but there were still options. The first thing you reached for was a red bottle cap. Why is that on the beach? Blue seashell, green pieces, sea glass. What is that? Sea glass, that sounds dangerous. What is that? Let me see, sea glass. I kind of think I know what it is. Never seen it on the beach. The salt water and sand churn for decades on pieces of broken glass, resulting in beautiful sea gems that are smooth and frosty. Okay. It's a thing. All right. Let's see. Let's go for the blue seashell. It was the best fit for your mansion, you decided. The blue color of it still reminded you of the clear water, so you displayed it front and center, making it a headlining feature of your whole thing. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. Okay, so you checked out Cove's sandcastle, you checked out Shiloh's sandcastle, you decided not to look. Why wouldn't I look? Let's look at Cove's, because the story is about me and Cove. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished digging the huge gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that. The doctor was... I think a comma should be in here somewhere. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with, comma, that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. Uh-oh. The silence was then broken. What's on top of yours, Shiloh? You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney. Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke. It's good. That's smart. Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that. I guess I don't see it. You should be an architect. Kind of looks like a worm. I don't know if it looks like a worm personally. I like the troll angle I'm taking here, so I'm gonna say I guess, but I don't see it. Is smoke supposed to be shiny? Could be. I like it. It is kind of silly. And that was that for the current topic. Jamie, can I see what you did? Sure. He began surveying your work. All you really knew about mansions was that they were supposed to be big, so you'd gone really big. It was the size of the country club that Lizzie played golf at, compared to Cove and Shiloh's buildings, probably even bigger. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation. Hey Jamie, what did you do? It's a mansion. It looks great. Your house is so big. It's not a big house. It's a mansion. I guess mansions are just really big houses. Thanks. You just looked at him. Let's see. Oh man. I'm just going to say thanks. I really wanted to do just look at him. Deadpan. You're welcome. I don't think that's the same as a house. Huh? Is being a house bad? No, but we each made our own place. Nobody is the same. I think we are. Cove raised an eyebrow at that. Why is he being so precious about these sandcastles? Like Cove, he's being super weird. If something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special. Okay? Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff. People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual. I don't think I'm very special. Why not? Nobody else is you. Shiloh simply shook his head. I'm not different. A beat passed between the two. Cove then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to. Cove trailed off. Again, there was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Jamie? You cocked your head, thinking about it briefly. Quiet down, notifications. I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued. Oh, well, I was there. I don't think my mom has met your dad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Jamie's parents and my dad met the same day I met her. I'm gonna say what happened. Okay. Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Cove's choice of topic. What? But why? Why, Shiloh? That was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say the things they want is important too. Okay, so I can stay silent and let Cove finish his story, or I think Shiloh wants to talk too, but why doesn't Shiloh just listen? He'll be okay. He wasn't part of the story. So guess what? You stayed silent and let Cove finish his story. Shiloh could talk about stuff after Cove had a chance to share what he planned on, because that's how conversations work, even between children. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us, only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that. His lips twisted into a frown as he recalled that. Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said. I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there, the ones where we met for the first time. Cove nodded, then stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything more. What? That's all you wanted to say? He said a lot, actually. It was very detailed. Cove's brow wrinkled, like he didn't understand why you were so surprised. That's all that happened. I could say, okay. Why did you want to tell the story if nothing happened? You really got to get better at telling stories. That was a pretty bad story. Thanks for telling me. Let's see. For one of these days, I should get like a chat poll in there so you guys can vote on which decision I should make. I'm going to see if I can work on that for next stream. Let's see. Why did you tell me the story if nothing happened? You really got to get better at telling stories. That was a pretty bad story. Thanks for telling me. I'm just going to say, okay. I don't want to be insulting, but like what I usually say in life is, what am I supposed to do with that information? What is it? What? You said that in a weird way. You're crazy. Cove narrowed his eyes at you, suspicious. Shallow's mouth twisted in a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why'd you bring that up anyway? There was a slight shrug of Cove's shoulders. I was thinking about it because of the sandcastle. It made me remember when I moved to here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason. Cove's brows furrowed a little more as he quietly raked his hands through the sand. I get it. You thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Shiloh fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand had made Cove aware of his presence again. They looked at each other, and you could only wonder what this might be about. Hey, Shiloh. Yeah? Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening? Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again. I don't know, I guess. Okay, it's kind of weird. Shallow's eyes were wide with embarrassment, and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. I'm supposed to be attracted to this kid? Maybe it wasn't only this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw, but it was a big deal to Shiloh. A huge deal. He didn't just look sad. He seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon got an answer. Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody is named Cove. Damn. Shiloh getting nasty. Yikes. Yo, Shiloh, relax, dude. Well, you heard him. You heard him, guys. Who asked you to come? It was probably just your dad bugging Jamie's family some more, because you don't have anyone else who will ever play with you. Cove blinked. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to move past. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh. I'm sorry. Me too. I was just wondering. All right, let me break the tension here. Hey, let's build another sandcastle. You tried to play on your own. Are we going to build more? Or am I going to just nervously mess with the sand? Let's just, hey, let's build another sandcastle, right? Break the tension a little. And the day is going to be over soon. Ah, Jamie, you're right. The sun is going down fast. You all went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you tried to do something to resolve it, though, and it seemed like it helped. Even though Shiloh's smile when he said goodbye to Cove wavered, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. So you lead the way on the path back home. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. Okay, should I ask Cove what he's thinking, or am I going to stay silent? Let's ask Cove what he's thinking. You didn't want to leave it hanging in the air, so you decided to just ask. Why are you making that face? Oh, I was just wondering. Cove fell silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed. Why'd Shiloh act like that when I said he was all red a lot? Maybe he has like rosacea or something. Okay, I could say you were being rude to him. He's just being a baby. You shouldn't make fun of him. I don't know. It's just Shiloh. He gets embarrassed. You shrugged at Cove with no answer to give. Well, I guess I'll just state the obvious. He gets embarrassed. Embarrassed? But I didn't say anything that bad. I agree with you, Cove. I do. It might have upset him anyway. I guess I can get it. Why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour. What Shiloh said didn't make sense anyway. Oh, I thought this was... Parents always talk to other parents and set up stuff so their kids play together. That is true. He's speaking the truth. My dad didn't do anything weird. You struggled not to make a face at that. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. His dad definitely did something weird to try and get you to spend time with Cove. But Cove didn't know that. Okay, my choices. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Lie. Your dad does do stuff so you'll hang out with my family, but Shiloh shouldn't have said that. Truth. You decided to tell him how his dad offered you money? Oh my god. I really wish I had a chat poll or something right now. Like, I feel like this is fun, interactive, and it would be more fun with participants. Next stream, no, yeah, next stream. There's plenty more game to be had. Do I stir some shit? Do I tell the truth or do I lie? I feel like if I lie, this might come back to bite me in the ass later. I feel like if I do kind of vague truth, it's like, okay, yeah, I pretty much agree with him. Parents do things to have kids hang out, like play dates, whatever. That's not weird. And then if I tell him the truth, it might make things awkward right now. So I'm going to go for the vague truth. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I knew the whole time Shiloh shouldn't have been saying things like that. You nodded, but you didn't speak. You kept your eyes firmly on the ground. By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses. It was time to part ways. Bye, Cove. Your parents hadn't planned anything else for you, though you knew that you'd see him eventually. Cove nodded, already turning away. Bye, Jamie. You made your way to your house at a leisurely pace, going up the driveway to get to the front door. Before you went inside, you looked back. Cove was halfway to his house, his hands shoved into his pockets. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. You might change your mind sometime. There was always tomorrow after all, but for now, it was definitely something that you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. Okay, and that ends the sandcastle. These are a lot of moments. That's for the DLC, huh? All right, let's go for long day or shopping. Shopping sounds fun because we've been outside a lot and I want to see if we go anywhere else other than outside and their houses. Come back before it gets dark, all right, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. That's kind of hot, though. He looks super young, too. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you'd first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow. Look, why is he smiling like that? Or maybe you made a noise because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. Okay. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to the two. Why is he winking? He's a little creep. Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Jamie? Stuff. I found a really cool snail across the road. He was slimy with funny eyes and a nice shell. Mr. Holden grinned at your enthusiasm. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. You know Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You shrugged. Cove was in the process of making a similar motion. You didn't have anything else to do, and you hadn't been to the stores in a few days. Maybe they were something new to look at. Maybe. Is that okay? I was going by myself, but I guess it is. You don't have to. Damn. Okay. Ugh, Cove's dad's annoying. Great. I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Oh my gosh. Get something for your friend, too. Sure. That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up. The bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. Oh, why are we back at the beach? Where are the stores? Excuse me. It was a nice day. The sun was shining and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down the wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Okay, let's see. Are you looking for snails? Are you looking for shells? What is it? You didn't feel the need to ask why. Let's ask him what his fucking problem is. Nothing. He kept staring down at the ground, though. You bit down on your lip a little, wanting to say something else, but not knowing what. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with the pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. Okay, so you didn't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? What do you usually do on the beach? Let's see what he needs to go to the shops for. I need a new sand pail. Yeah? What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second. It disappeared. What? Really? Cove ducked his head down. Why is he smiling like that? Lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did that happen? Well, Cove opened his mouth, then shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. Uh-huh. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it. It disappeared. What about you? What do you do out here? I don't come to the beach. Weren't we just at the beach for the sandcastles? I like swimming. I like looking at fish. I like to build sandcastles. Nothing. All right, let's say I like swimming. Cove's lips curled up in a small smile. Me too. It occurred to you that you hadn't been swimming in a while. There was just so much to do before school started up again and so little time. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. Oh my gosh. I can't wait till summer, guys. Like, I'm usually somebody who's like, I just need like a month of summer, month and a half, and then I really love fall. Winter's okay. I love sweaters and snuggles and fireplaces and fires and all that other stuff. And Christmas. But yeah, I'm over winter right now too. It was nice. It was not very nice. It was all right. It's nice. That is nice. Summer vibes. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were, but that boy is miserable. Cove was just glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander. In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read, "The Amazing Alexander," in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on the sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. I want to see the show. Cove glanced back at the man. He then briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to place. Okay. He may not be impressed, but at least he didn't ditch you. You grinned, waving for him to follow you as you raced back to stand in the crowd. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers, and the card just disappeared. Whoa. Cove is unimpressed. The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's that behind your ear? I can be like, nothing. Tell me you backed away. Okay, we like to play along for magic shows, so I'm gonna say nothing. It was true, you didn't keep anything there. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he'd done it. There was a light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you were really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with cards. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Okay, so I can say maybe it wasn't so special. Cove is just running the fun. At least you had a fun time. You wonder if Cove's whole family was magic or depressed. Cove is just ruining the fun. He'll take the spoils from the encounter with Alexander, but not appreciate his tricks. That isn't a very good attitude. At least you had a fun time. You wondered if the amazing Alexander knew how to make people disappear, as well as cards. Damn. I guess he did. He disappeared, look. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. You picked up a kaleidoscope, you picked up a Rubik's Cube, you picked up a magic 8-ball. You walked past the toys. Let's walk past the toys. I don't care. You briefly looked over to the rack of toys, thinking that they could be interesting to look at, but you didn't really feel in the mood at the moment. Cove picked up one of the kaleidoscopes and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. I could ask him, did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You said nothing. Let's ask him if he had places like this in his old town. Cove blinked at you for a moment, and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded in understanding, looking over to the stalls nearby. Ooh, that's cute. Oh, I would totally buy that turtle. While Cove looked at sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read "Handmade" standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. Okay, you picked up the dolphin, you picked up the shark, you picked up the crab, picking up the turtle. Your hand stopped on the sleeping turtle, just barely poking its head out of the shell. It had flecks of metallic green on its back that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remembered the turtles you had seen in the movie. You had been mesmerized by the way they gently glided through the water. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. That is a lot, even at the shore. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name, though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad. You still had the $20 bill Mr. Holden gave you hidden away in your room. It was a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you'd have to ask your moms to bring you here again one day, now that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money. It's fine. So I can say, really, really? Are you sure? Hooray! You don't have to. I don't want you to get it for me. I would personally be like, you don't have to. Kobe didn't mind that. He took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. My dad told me to. Oh, you did it because your dad told you to? You beamed, excited at the idea of displaying the keychain somewhere in your room. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. Yeah? Let's see. Why is your dad always giving people money? Thanks for the keychain. Forget it. I'm gonna thank him. Thank my dad. Well, he's such a jerk. Cove, you're such a jerk. I'm really digging this music. Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did yours, let out a light growl. And just as he did, we need a comma there, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. For $10? How much was the pail? Yeah. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you? Got a plain one, cheese, sprinkles, chocolate. They got the same. Soft pretzels. I got the same. I like the cinnamon sugar pretzels. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. Your mom didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. The little cup of icing looked too delicious to pass on. God, guys, I didn't even eat dinner either yet. It's making me hungry. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are going to make it hard to eat. No, it's not. You tie the balloon string on the chair. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string, or like the pail. Okay. Cove is a special child, I'm finding. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing a pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrists. That too. That's like classic kid tying a balloon. Oh. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled satisfied. There, now do mine. He repeated the ritual. Why does he look so annoyed over that? He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other. Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face toward the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper and he was gripping his dolphin too. Okay, I can say mine's name is Merriweather. He's the prince of the dolphins. Mine's name is Splash. They star in movies. My name is Cherry. She's actually an alien. Sam, they're just a regular dolphin. I like the alien one. When no one is looking, she transforms back into her true alien self. She has purple skin and 10 eyes. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real-life alien. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's... With a loud Pop! The dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh, he's gonna be so mad. He's gonna be so pissed. You might start crying. He's a crier. Ah! Oh no. There he, yep, told you. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. Let's see, I can make a joke. You offered to find Alexander. Oh, the magic guy, okay. The magician. You offered to give Cove your balloon. You didn't say anything. He would be all right. That kid will not be all right. Let's give Cove our balloon. He did buy the keychain. Because that magician's probably gone. You could have my balloon instead if you want it. Cove looked over at you, frowning. I don't want yours. Oh. You felt bad for Cove, but were secretly glad. You really liked the little dolphin and weren't too eager to give it up. Cove spent the rest of the outing sniffling and didn't say much else. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been nice for the most part. Hopefully there wouldn't be any tears next time. Okay, that was a crazy one. I just feel like so far this Cove character is so miserable. I hope when we get to the next stage of life, which is, I guess technically supposed to be like puberty, he kind of like mellows out. But for right now, like his life just seems miserable. All right. I think, okay, we're almost at the hour mark. I think we can get through these last two. Okay, so let's go to long day. Stretch. Let's take a little stretch here. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel pleased, frustrated, nothing really. Nothing really, I'll say. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet, something like, let's see, a popsicle, an ice cream cone, an ice cream sandwich, popsicle probably. You wanted something fruity and brightly colored. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your mom didn't keep sweets in the house. He sounds super boring. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but there were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. You sighed, you voiced your predicament out loud, you asked Shiloh for help. Okay, let's voice our predicament out loud, see what happens. I want a popsicle. Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up. Maybe ask him at his house. That sounds good. We don't have anything like that in the house, and I don't have any money. How about that $20? Oh, let me check if I have any. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins. Oh, hi. Thank you for following Homie442. I don't know why my alert is all the way over there. Appreciate it. Welcome. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins, plus one stray button. Yeah, let's pay for a popsicle with a button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. Let's see. It's not enough. It's a start. Psh. I tell you, man, back in the 90s, with $1, you can go to the bodega and buy 4 popsicles. Okay, that shit was 25 cents. I feel bad for a lot of kids these days. I'll say it's a start. Shiloh beamed at you. We'll just need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust, or sandy crumbs. But every so often, one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Your mind wandered over to the $20 bill tucked away in your room. Why did you say you didn't have any money earlier? Why are you doing all this? I mean, maybe you're saving it, but that's okay. It was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more, but you didn't take it out. That was too special to hand over so freely. Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange had been a secret. Dusted and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into the tiny nook, the two of you finished pulling your finds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah, you could now afford something at the shops. Just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. How much are these popsicles? Where do they live? Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay! The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed. The promise of sugar buoyed. That's probably still not it. Buoyed you onto your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause. But that's your house. Oh, I guess he pulled out some coins too, yeah. Aren't you getting a popsicle? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. Okay, so the choice is you went ahead and got what you wanted originally. Are you really sure it's okay? You tried to get something you both wanted anyway. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, we both pitched in. So you tried to get something you both wanted anyway. Makes sense. It wasn't fair to you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What do you like? All of them. They're so good. You pressed further, because that's a non-answer. A very female answer. But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice creams? Which is your favorite? Oh, it's so hard to pick. I don't know. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Please don't tell me you two are sharing the popsicle. Finally, the reward for all of your hard work was in your hands. You sucked on the fruity popsicle you'd bought. The icy treat cooled you down perfectly and the zesty flavor was refreshing. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. You can finish it. He didn't want any? 'Cause that's nasty. After everything he did to help get it, you guys remember those popsicles where it's the 2 sticks on it and you can split it apart and share it? That was weird. No, what's weird is you trying to share a popsicle with a stranger. He's not even related to you. Okay, but you accept the offer. You tried to include Shiloh. You hesitated. Wait, I feel like I have to go back. I don't know what I'm answering. I'm just going to pick you hesitated. It's okay, Jamie. You wanted more than I do. And I'm really happy that we got to play today already. You finish it. I'm going to be so nervous. He's like, I don't want to eat your fucking popsicle. Like your mouth was all over it. Your spit. Well, it wasn't worth arguing further. The frozen treat was being worn away by the sun and starting to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. If you waited much longer, then neither of you would be getting to eat it. All right, thanks. The two of you began to head back home as you ate. You offered the treat once more to Shiloh, but he refused again. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt or was too afraid to. You figured that was his problem and didn't care. Are you scared of me? You thought that was kind of sad. Are we friends? Like, Jamie is taking this real personal. Okay, you figured that was his problem and didn't care, because why are we caring? Shiloh was the only person who acted that way around you, so it was him rather than something wrong with you. You could ask him about it, but if he couldn't give an opinion on something like what treat to get, then he wasn't going to open up about this. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times, and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing, at least. The treat was delicious, and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There, you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you defended Cove. Yeah, because Lizzie's being like super bitch to him lately. Took a moment to make a joke, accused Lizzie of causing trouble, carefully asked about what happened. Let's not jump to conclusions. We're not going to get crazy. Let's carefully ask what happened. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. I'm a detective now. This is a crime scene. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened? Jamie, I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Some grandparents? Like a gang of them? Oh, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, this same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. Uh-huh. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just going to stay away. Or you can teach them a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again. Yeah, I'll let her do that line. You got that, Lizzie. Cove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you. You're not a chicken, are you? Let's see. Yeah, cluck, cluck. You'd rather just avoid him. You thought they deserved worse. I'm going to do it, though. Yeah, I'll do it. Really? You took a deep breath and nodded. Lizzie squealed with delight because she is chaotic evil. Well, go hide. Run as soon as you hit the bell. Good luck. Lizzie and Shiloh ran across the road to take shelter in the bushes. Even once they'd settled down, you could make out two child-sized shapes staring from between the leaves. You knew where to look for them, though, and so you told yourself that the grouchy old people wouldn't spot it. Cove sighed, his gaze flicking to the house and then back to you. Don't get caught. As if they could keep up. He went to join Lizzie and Shiloh in their hideaway. The weight of 3 pairs of eyes on your back was heavier than anything you'd carry before as you approached the door. You hesitated as you reached for the doorbell. Then, we're ringing it. You slapped the buzzer and ran. Blood thumped against your eardrums with every step. Would you make it in time? Approaching the hiding spot, you knew that there wasn't time to go around the bushes as the others had done. You took a shortcut, leaping over them. Or to be more accurate, crashing into the tops of the bushes and then falling over to the other side. Judging from the squeak, it was Shiloh who cushioned your fall. Shh! Lizzie put a finger to her lips and nodded at the house. You disentangled your limbs from Shiloh's and spun around to see the old man framed in the doorway, peering back and forth suspiciously. You covered your mouth with your hands, but it wasn't enough to stifle your giggles. Maybe he spotted one of you, or maybe it was the leaves you displaced while jumping, but he locked eyes with the bush and stormed over in your direction. Shiloh gasped and looked to Lizzie. Run! Your sister did not hesitate to take her own advice. Neither did you and Shiloh. Cove, with just the one fully operational arm, took a little longer to get to his feet, but still caught up to Shiloh with ease. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The 4 of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin. Hey, Cove. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents round here. Cove rolled his eyes and decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. Okay, so it was fine, you thought. You still felt a little sad about how much time you spent together today, and it was always annoying. It's fine, because Shiloh can be too much. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. You closed your eyes, laid on your side, and relaxed. Some time passed with you like that. It felt good to take a real break. Oh, sorry, I skipped that by accident. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on cold, rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. You saw a dolphin, you saw a car. Oh my God, I love alpacas, guys. You saw a smiley face, you saw cloud shapes. Okay, I saw an alpaca. You saw a fluffy alpaca in the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Can you see the alpaca? Cove joined you in gazing skywards. It's more like a llama. Hey. He chuckled at your reaction. All the sun's light faded from the sky, and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach. There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You? Let's see, wanted to go there too, were too tired to argue, was happy to do what the others wanted, objected to the plan, or a team player. The beach wouldn't necessarily have been where you chose to go next, but if that's what the others wanted, then you weren't going to spoil the fun. You stepped onto the sand for a second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour, abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The 4 of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The waves tickled your feet. I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean, with shampoo and everything.
That would be bad for the fish.
I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez, you don't have to be serious about everything.
You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It'll hurt the fishes.
I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. You'd never heard Lizzie use that word before. Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm going to do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy.
What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does.
Oh, God. Probably a reason. Like, where's your mom, dude? Don't you know you're not supposed to ask? Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed up by the waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both your moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Jamie. I don't have a dad. But I don't have two moms. I just have one. She's really great.
Oh, sorry. I only have one now, too. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me.
Aw, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Cove nodded. Let's see. You joked about Shiloh's mom getting together with Cove's dad. Even if they're all different, our parents are good in their own ways. You didn't say anything. Okay, let's do a joke, because sometimes I'm awkward like that. You didn't have anything comforting to say to that, so you tried to lighten the mood instead. Hey, since you both only have one parent, Cove's dad could marry Shiloh's mom. Then you two would be brothers. Cove stopped abruptly, his face set hard. He's calling me all kinds of names in his head. Why is your dad gay? Or like, why? Why is he reacting like that?
My dad isn't going to do that.
Shiloh tugged at the rim of his hat. Neither is my mom. She doesn't want to marry anybody. I told you people this wasn't a good thing to talk about. It seemed your plan backfired and the mood soured even more. You didn't know what to do, so I should just shut the fuck up. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sudden sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. Okay, you made a run for it. You retaliated. Let's retaliate. You used your foot to smack the water pooling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she spluttered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Yuck. Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Ah! Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain, as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head, and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it.
That was crazy. Are you okay?
Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over. Way to go, Shiloh, you dumbo. Let's see, you offered him some help up, let him get up by himself. Like, what the heck? Help that kid up. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh, too. He reached over and took it. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Slowly, he started to pull himself from the ground. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low, but there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside, chatting to Cove's dad. "We're back!" Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were all in, ranging from messy to soaked. "Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you." "They certainly did. What's Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home? Cold and filthy?" Lizzie's expression turned. See, they're so boring. They're like super buzzkills. Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair.
"You've been out making memories, bucko. I'm glad you had a good time with your friends."
Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. "I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun."
"That might be right, kids. What can you do? Come on, Cove, let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset."
Like moldy and stuff. Cove winced at the thought.
"Okay, that a boy."
"Bye." Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sam was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble. "Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff."
"Night, Peaches family, and Shiloh too."
"Well, we'd better do what we can to fix you guys up too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom." "Yes, Mom." "Okay, Lizzie's mom. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight." Sitting on an old towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall. Until you were less sandy, you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This was a no fun allowed clean up session. At least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. Okay, I think what we're going to do here, just take a brief break. Let me try to get this countdown timer. Because I don't know how long this grown-up section, I feel like this is, but it would have been like in a certain order, right? Like where they kind of grow up. Okay, we're just gonna take a brief, like, let's say 5-minute break. I'm gonna stretch, rest a little. It's a lot of talking I gotta do. All right, let's make sure this is white. Thank you guys again for sticking around. I'd say we probably have, when we come back, about 20 minutes left for this phase of life, I guess we're gonna call it. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, add a new source. Okay. All right, well, I forgot to retitle it, but whatever. Whatever, we're a scrappy production here. All right, y'all, I'll see you in about 5 minutes, okay? Okay, we are back. Everything's on? Okay. We're back. All right. Final moment. Final moment. Here we go. Well, before we do that, actually, I'm going to take another moment to thank everybody in the who are watching the stream right now. You may be lurking or whatnot, but thank you for being here with me, enjoying the story, listening to me talk for the last 90 minutes. And thank you again, homie442, for hitting that follower button. Very, very much appreciate it. Everything helps with the support, so I appreciate it, guys. All right, grown up. Here we go. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove. Okay. Listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you along with Lizzie to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to Mommy, so your sister was starting to get impatient waiting for her golf class that evening. The three of you had had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly, a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and telling everybody they're too busy to play.
Why?
I said why, and it'll be fun, duh.
What do they do inside that we don't, besides use the phone a lot?
Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore Cove. I would too. He has no imagination. He has no life. This kid needs life. Jamie, what do you think? Do you want to? Cove said it. That doesn't sound fun. And mine, it doesn't really sound fun. I bet we can come up with some. Well, no, this is something kids do. I used to play. We used to all play grown-ups all the time, right? Like teachers and all this other stuff. Like school was a big one of mine. I bet we can come up with something else. I don't know. I want to. Say, I bet we could come up with something else. But that's what I'm going to do, and it's not as fun when I play pretend adults by myself.
Do you do that a lot?
What's it to you? Looking at Lizzie, it seemed Cove felt he could understand where she was coming from, and he sighed.
Do you really not want to play, Jamie?
It was clear he wanted some way out, but still felt guilty about it. Let's see, I'll try it, but that sounds boring. Okay, I'll stay. So I have other stuff to do. You kept hesitating. Let's see, you kept hesitating. You looked down at your hand, still unsure. Apparently tired of waiting for you to make up your mind, Lizzie sighed. Fine, go play over there, Jamie. You flinched from her raised voice. It definitely wouldn't be fun to join now. Oops, sorry. Me and Cove will do it ourselves. It's decided. Oh, I didn't know Cove was still playing. He looked ahead blankly.
I guess.
Now go on. Nodding goodbye to the two of them, you trailed off to find something else to do. Like he promised, Cove stayed put with Lizzie for the next couple of hours while you watched TV, played Godzilla, read a book, built a fort. I would be reading a book. You could hear them talking as you sat with a book by the window. You opened the picture book in your lap and immediately got lost in the story. It was about a little donkey who grew up on a farm making friends with all the animals and pretending to be like them. You liked the part where she swam around in the pond with the ducks. It always made you laugh. You finished that book and went to get another, but before you could choose one, you noticed that Lizzie and Cove's voices were getting much louder. Curious about what was happening, you craned your neck to hear them better. At first, you mostly only picked up on Lizzie's high-pitched shouting, giving orders, telling Cove what to do, yelling about sports in the Olympics. Now she's going to be that kind of wife. That was pretty typical for Lizzie, so there was nothing new there. But then you started hearing Cove more and more as time went on. It sounded like they weren't having a very good time. You'd stay put, you would see what's going on. Yes, because I'm nosy. Hello. You abandoned your cozy reading spot to go check what was happening with them. Why are you guys shouting so much? From up close, you could see that your sister was red-faced and pouting, while Cove mostly just looked confused. Neither one paid you mind. Shut up, Cove. You're being so unreasonable.
I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense.
It does. You don't have to be realistic. I said that.
But you're not.
Their yelling was noisy. Your parents were probably going to get mad, or maybe the neighbors. You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. You sure these two are not going to get together? Had the two of them been arguing like this the whole time? Thankfully, like a greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed to her, hanging onto the hem of her shirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Jamie, it's time to get ready to go. Sorry, you have to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said she'll walk you home so you won't be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed with red with anger.
I can go by myself.
But without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight. Okay. Worried, Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with our new friend, weren't you? You told the truth, you lied. Well, I'm not going to rat my sister out like that, right? So we're going to just lie. Yep, we had fun. Reassured that you didn't rat her out, Lizzie flashed you a smile. That's right, we're good hosts in this house. That's what I like to hear. We'll have to make sure he comes over again. I think he does not like the thought of that. Lizzie's smile immediately faded. Ah, right, we better get a move on. Let's go, kids. Nolani, where did you leave your car keys? So they do have names. Great, because Mom and Mommy, you're so weird. Mom hustled you all out the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. You picked your favorite song. It always made the car ride more fun. You chose the soundtrack to a cool movie you saw a couple months ago. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Make Me That would cheer her up. You were happy to see it brightened her up right away, and she started singing along with you. Soon enough, her bad mood was a thing of the past. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of sun warm your skin. When the sun was finally out of sight, dipping behind the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant that you all had been going to ever since you could remember. Earlier, you'd only caught the tail end of your sister's argument with Cove, but you could kind of tell that this all helped Lizzie be less angry. With Lizzie in a better mood, the car ride home was much more pleasant. The two of you took turns picking the radio stations, while your mom spoke quietly to one another about stuff. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, the four of you got out of the car and went into the house. Mommy went to the washroom while Mom left to go change. You and Lizzie stayed downstairs in the living room. You were about to head to your room when she stopped you, motioning you closer instead. Puzzled, you listened to her. She craned her neck around as if expecting someone to pop out of nowhere and scare her, then turned back to you. Lizzie crossed her arms, peering intently at you. Thanks, Jamie. I couldn't say it before. If you said Code got all mad, Mom would have gotten mad too. You thought back to earlier that day, the argument Lizzie and Cove had, and how Mom had never found out about it. Saying, yeah, Mom didn't need to know. You're welcome. We have to help each other out. I want something back for that. You're welcome. You should still try to make up with Cove. Okay, but I'll tell on you if you don't say sorry to Cove later. Keep it a secret if you apologize to Cove and give me something. Dang, diabolical. Let's say you're welcome, but you should still try to make it up with Cove. Lizzie's expression soured instantly at your words. Why should I do that? It was his fault and it doesn't matter anyway. You made Cove feel bad, that's why. Lizzie sputtered before tilting her chin away from you with a defensive look. I didn't do anything. He just can't play right. Mommy always says that you should apologize if you know you upset someone, and you did. She groaned at your words, throwing her head back dramatically, but you know your sister. You could tell that she knew you were right. Ugh, okay, I'll tell him I'm sorry the next time I see him. She glanced back to narrow her eyes at you. But you still can't tell Mom or Mommy about what happened. All right. It's a deal. Looking relieved, Lizzie promptly left to go upstairs. You watched her disappear from view, hearing the faint sound of her bedroom door shutting soon after. You were pleased at how things had worked out. Lizzie agreed to apologize to Cove, which meant that soon they'd be okay with each other again. As okay as Lizzie and Cove could be with each other. The best part was that your parents hadn't found out. You had gotten away with it. You retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. I think we're at... And then summer ended. Okay, we're going to save here. In our empty slot, we are all done. Doom, 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 doom. Okay. That was interesting. I'm trying to think. I do feel motivated to keep moving on with this game. And we're going to, because again, this game's only like, I think it said 16 to 25 hours long, so it's not going to be too much of an investment. Could get this done in like, what, like 7 to 10 playing days. But right now it's moving a little slow. Maybe this is just how the process is, because again, I think there's like four stages of life here. So obviously it's going to be like a very slow burn with these two. I like the artwork. I like the character style. I think some of the dialogue is a little weird, like some of the storyline some of the through lines in the storyline. I really wish the parents had names to begin with, because the mom and the mommy thing, so weird to narrate. But yeah, not too bad so far. Again, if this is a game that you want to go ahead and check out for yourself, it is free to download on Steam. One Life, Always, and Beginnings, or Beginnings and Always, something like that. Just type in One Life, you'll see it. So while the base game is free, which is what we have, the DLCs do cost money. The DLCs are probably not going to be something we explore here on this stream. But there has been a lot of satisfying reviews with just the base game. So again, I want to thank all of you out there that stopped by tonight. I really, really appreciate it. I would go a little bit longer tonight, but I'm hungry. And I got a GTA 5 game to finish up, and I'm going to chill for the rest of my night. So you guys do the same, or jump to another stream. Heart y'all. Thanks for the support. Again, hit that follow button. Again, I won't be streaming next week. If I stream any day next week, it will be Monday. I won't know what time. If I do, I will post that on Twitter, and I will update my schedule on Twitch as well. But other than that, we will not be playing this game until I get back from my vacation, sometime after March 12th. So probably the 14th or the 15th, we'll come back to One Life. Okay. So thank you again, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.